Not only is it more enjoyable to run when you don't feel like you're sucking wind or grabbing your side every so often, but it actually decreases fatigue because you're ensuring that your muscles are getting enough oxygen to do what you're asking. Amanda here from runtothefinish.com with some tips to help get your breathing under control and ensure you have a better run. First, you need to know that breathing issues are not always just because you're out of shape. They could be caused by asthma, allergies, technique, or some of the tips that I'm going to share with you. Number 1 is breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. This feels a little uncomfortable for some people at first, but let's talk through it. In through your nose and out through your mouth is a more calming way of breathing and ensures that you're breathing just a little bit slower. Now, the second piece of this is actually from Bud Coates, and it's a rhythmic breathing pattern. It can take a little bit to get used to, but is super helpful. Now, the way it works is you breathe in for 3 and out for 2. So you time it with your footsteps. In 2, 3, out 2. In 2, 3, out 2. And what you might notice there is that changes the leg that you are landing on out with each time. Bud found that we exert more pressure on the leg when we're breathing out, so by alternating which leg is getting the out breath, we're actually preventing injuries too. I love it when something works for 2 things at once. Next up, if allergies are your issue, and hello, this spring I could barely take it, I have learned that taking your allergy medication after the run is really important. Most of us have a 24-hour medication, so just try and time it at some point daily that's going to be after your run. Prior to your run, it seems to result in shallower breathing and just never fully getting your lungs to totally open up. Since we're talking about opening up our lungs, let's make sure our chest muscles aren't the problem. We sit all day hunched over at a computer, which tightens everything up. Before we start running, we want to ensure that we've got good open breathing. Find a wall, get a little chest stretch, or even just putting your arms in that field goal stance. You're going to immediately feel it start to open everything up and ensure you can take a full breath while you're running. The second piece of that is just spending a little more time on your warm-up. I often talk a lot about the dynamic warm-up, but I found for people who are having breathing troubles that there's a second component which works really well. Do your normal walk and then run for maybe 3 to 5 minutes, then walk again for a few more minutes before starting your full run. This seems to really help with just loosening everything up and getting those lungs open. Most people who try this tell me that consistently it means their run goes better in the second part because they're not struggling so hard to get their breath. Now, my final tip is to stop thinking about your breathing so much. I know I just told you in through your nose and all these patterns, but the more you think about it, the more you start kind of psyching yourself out. At the beginning of your run, focus on those couple things I mentioned, and then just try to let yourself zone out in terms of your breathing, get into a rhythm. For more running tips and tricks, head over to runtothefinish.com.